The Hammer and the Awl. The two old men met again in the dusty workshop as they did every Monday. Both skilled carpenters, but both needing more regular incomes to meet their family's needs than their craft provided. One a rabbi, the other a farmer. They enjoyed their time together away from their day jobs. They enjoyed the beauty of what they created, the artistry and the science. Also the conversation that flowed around the saw and the hammer, the chisel and the awl. Like the raw wood, rough and honest before it was shaped and smoothed into beauty, their words sawed each other's thoughts, sandpapered their emotions into concepts that were pleasing to them both, however different the end product within each man. As for their granular handiwork, their creations gladdened their hearts almost as much. Their pleasure in what they made and the appreciation of their customers had proved ample reward. But appreciation rarely makes ends meet, and so Moshe needed his salary and Salah the proceeds from his crops. "How are the strawberries coming along?" asked Moshe. Salah sighed. "Any delay in getting them to the market and we lose half the crop. That is why we also grow vegetables that allow us a little more time and olives that we never have to rush. The problem is that the traders set the prices and they rarely disagree with each other. Sometimes the price of one item is low and the other high, at other times just the opposite. We get by because we grow different things. Those who raise one crop struggle to make ends meet. And on top of all that, there are the security checks. We lost our whole strawberry harvest this year because the truck was stuck at the border post for one full day. I wish we could export to Jordan. But enough about me. You said you were having some trouble with the newcomers?" It was Moshe's turn to frown. "I should be happy that more are attending the synagogue, but the air has changed. Conversations spin around how to use the scriptures to justify our actions rather than learning enough to do better, to be better. Everyone seems to know the text of the Torah but not the spirit. Too many practice only those parts that suit their thinking. In trying to reason with them, any attempts to consider all views becomes a weakness, because those who see no other way than their own channel all of their energy into that one focus. The rest of us are left scrambling, and the loudest voices drown out all others. Volume seems to count more than content." Sala interrupted. "You deal with thoughts and words. We have to deal with beatings and guns. Your reality is so different from mine. The village 5 miles from here was set afire. The people clubbed and 2 men killed. The settlers wanted our land and the army just stood by." Moshe spread out his hands. "I condemn that in my sermons and my conversations. Many agree with me, but the few who don't are enough in number to justify each other. Or maybe the numbers do not matter. Maybe it is their deafness to any voice that does not echo their own that reinforces their conviction. They do not care what we think or say. They consider us soft fools who cannot see how right they are. Idealistic idiots for considering their enemies our friends." "I do not doubt your intentions," Moshe Sala replied. "But debate does not match bullets. Debate does not even match laws. We have tried words, and when your leaders do not listen, we have argued using the world's laws. But others' laws and rulings make no difference to a nation that considers itself more righteous than the rest of humanity. And so, we are tied to you, and our lives are lived by your rules. The system is set up to make us servants who will always remain in service, because we can never be allowed to prosper. Is this not apartheid? And now, the little that we have is being taken away. Long before the bullets came, the settlers started moving into our lands. Where do they stop? The Nakba does not end. Moshi nodded. Salah, their beliefs and their self-belief frighten me. They talk of a nation stretching from river to river. Historically, Israel in its greatest extent has never extended as far as the divine promises they claim. Our scriptures record that even then, we as a people failed our God and were judged unworthy to lay claim to all that was promised. How much less deserving are we now? My Yahweh is your Allah. Everyone is judged by what they are. I cannot believe our Creator loves one race more than the other. We were once Yahweh's champion, a David. We have become a Goliath. Salah grimaced. Strange as it sounds, Moshe, the Palestinians have become like your King David before he was king. Ridiculed, persecuted, hounded, abandoned. Our voices are drowned out by the world's guilt for what was done in the past to your people. Our plight is too marginal to trouble the West enough to broker an independent state. My friend Stephen, the English pastor who serves as a tour guide for church groups, says that there are many in his country who are uncomfortable with what they see. Maybe they should be. Even a farmer like me knows about Balfour. Creation of a Jewish state was and is fine. But what of the people who lived in and owned the land where the state was going to be established? We did not persecute the Jews. So why is it that the survivors of the Holocaust do not hesitate to unleash their own Holocaust on us? And even before that, going back through history, Arab empires accepted the Jewish victims of the Inquisition and they flourished wherever Christians did not rule. My people welcomed the outcasts of the Russian and Polish pogroms and every other persecution. The Jews in Palestine lived in peace with their Palestinian neighbors until the Zionists arrived. Your people forget history and bite the hands that once fed you. Moshe's face was flushed when he replied, You have used powerful words like apartheid and Holocaust, Salah. I have never thought of my people in that light. I still cannot, but for whatever has caused you to think like that, I am sorry. Has something happened? Salah stared at the floor, his focus far away. Your discomfort and Stephen's cannot compare to the grief of a family who have lost a husband or a father or a son. I did not lose anyone last week, but the young men feel they have no other way. They consider us cowards, too comfortable in our own skins and the crumbs that Israel offers us. They rush to join Hamas or any other organization that howls for blood. My son has done the same. Salah, you cannot support Hamas, Moshe interjected. Salah looked at Moshe and grimaced. I do not. Their anger and their pain dissolve their boundaries, their humanity. Kill enough and killing becomes the norm. They kill Palestinian and Jew without hesitation. And when killing is acceptable, everything in between is fine. I cannot accept that, but I understand their reasons. Before Yasser got tamed, the world hated him as a terrorist, but they listened when he spoke. His successors who have adopted non-violent means are considered feeble because no one hears them shout. And my people and yours ignore them because your government emasculates them. Whether they agree or not, people on both sides listen to Hamas because their actions speak louder than their words. Moshe almost shouted, but Hamas murders children and women. They want to exterminate Israel. Salah held up his hand to stop his friend. Hamas takes lives with a knife or a bullet. Israel takes far more lives with a single missile. Is a sterile video of a drone strike easier to stomach than the blood-splashed pavement of a terror attack? Hamas kills women and children. Does the Israeli army not do the same? Palestinian children who face them with rocks are shot dead. Army snipers target journalists. When does a terrorist become a freedom fighter? And what is the difference between a prisoner and a hostage? How many Palestinian prisoners does it take to buy back a single Israeli hostage? Neither crime justifies the reciprocal crime. An eye for an eye makes us both blind. I agree with you, Salah Moshe responded. Every Hamas attack undermines the efforts of all Israelis who oppose the oppression of Palestinians. Soldiers who argue for peace are left with no option but to go back into war. Salah interrupted again, and that is exactly what your government wants. They and Hamas have the same bloodlust, or an even more eerie political calculation. It matters not what the price. Your young people and mine are taking up arms. My son goes to join Hamas, and I've lost him. I will always love him, but I cannot agree with what he will be called to do. Even if he survives, what returns will not be my son. It was Moshe's turn to look down. I fear you're right about politics. Our government supported Hamas as a counter to the PLO, and then we lost control. The hawks in my government are the same as the killers in Hamas. You lose your lives and we lose our souls. Damned for what we do or do not do. Right now, lives cost more than souls, Moshe, Salah said. You are my friend. You mean me no harm. But in this present time, your people are exterminating mine. Moshe nodded. That is the crime. Israel moves against Palestinians to get their land. Unlike the Nazis and their programmed genocide, greed is Israel's motive and their fear of the stranger. But both end up looking on their victims as less than human. Both end up with their victims being killed. I am sorry, Salah. The only way forward that I can see is to resist those who seek to purge Israel of all Palestinians, to resist them with even my life. And mine, Moshe, Salah joined in. To oppose those who seek to erase Israel with all my strength. I hope my resistance will convince my family and friends that we have to win our freedom without violence. Also, to convince your friends and family and the world that the ordinary Palestinian wishes for peace and the right to earn their own livelihood without exploitation. We will have to resist the killers even if it means being killed. Right. We have much to do. Let us finish this piece before going back to work on our peoples. Agreed. And the two artisans resumed their labors. BBC News. In an extraordinary turn of events, a rabbi was shot when armed settlers advanced on a Palestinian village and were met by Israelis who had formed a protective ring around the hamlet. When intimidation did not succeed, the settlers tried to force their way through. In the ensuing scuffle, shots were fired and the rabbi was wounded. An elderly Palestinian waving a white flag ran from his house and stood over the rabbi as the altercation continued, until the Israeli Defense Forces arrived to investigate the gunfire. It is thought there were no further casualties because the only Palestinian directly involved was the elderly flag bearer. He was arrested by the IDF but released shortly thereafter on the testimony given by the rabbi from his hospital bed. No one else has been charged, and the government has promised a full investigation. In a further twist to the story, unconfirmed reports suggest that the elderly Palestinian was the person who organized meetings in villages across the region and convinced neighbors to create a weapons-free zone in that section of the West Bank. He has been blacklisted by Hamas. The IDF press liaison has confirmed that other than the arms held legally by settlers, no weapons have been detected in the area. The IDF denies any special security arrangements for the villages in the zone.